Sup guys, Anime Logician here, and today I'm going to be doing a video based on the fall season of anime for 2022, and yes, I've caught up to all of the anime shows that I'm currently watching, and I feel the need to give out my opinion to those, and hopefully some will agree with me, and I know some will most likely disagree with me, but again, this is just my opinion, so do not feel offended, and do not feel salty for my opinions, as, again, this is my opinion alone, and I would like to apologize as I seem to sound somewhat nasally or congested. 2 or 3 days ago, I started coming down with a cold as I was working outside, and I've been coughing, I've been having nasal issues, my throat's been sore, and I did have a headache 2 days ago, but that's actually been gone for a while as I've been taking medicine for that, and I've been getting somewhat better. So hopefully by the end of next week or somewhere around this week, I get better and I can go back to posting content or just doing things on social media. But with that being said, let's get started with the tier list. Alright, so starting off with this tier list, we have Bleach, the 1000-Year Blood War arc, and I'm going to rate this a 9 out of 10. Now then, the only reason why I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 is because originally, as a Bleach fan who was around for the original series, I gotta say that some of the character development was kind of on and off, kind of wishy-washy. It was over here and over there. And then the filler arcs were extremely terrible. There was only one filler arc that I enjoyed watching, and it wasn't even that good. I'm also going to say that I'm somewhat a bit disappointed that it took Bleach 11 years just to get the final arc animated. So again, I was really annoyed at that, as before the 1000-Year Blood War arc was being animated, I originally gave the original series a 7 out of 10, but seeing that we got this arc animated, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 just because the animation is 1,000 times better. The intro and outro are amazing. I will say the outro is just a bit better. And overall, the character development is starting to flourish as we're seeing more and more of the characters showing off their true potential and their secret powers. I would give this a 10 out of 10, but I don't want it to seem like a fanboy, as fanboys kind of ruin anime. And a lot of things tend to ruin anime in the community, so I'm just going to give it a 9 out of 10 for what it is. Next up, we got Raven of the Inner Palace. Oh, my bad. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It was a good anime, but I'm not going to say it was anything comparable to best anime or 10 out of 10 anime, you know. The animation was good, character development was alright. I do believe that the intro and outros were good too, so I'm just going to say that it's a good anime. I'm not going to say it's the worst, but I'm not going to say it's the best as well. Next up, we got Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out Season 2, and this is going to get a 8 out of 10 from me. I'm not going to say it's the best anime, of course. Originally, in my opinion, Season 1 was so much better as it had much more tension between the two main characters, and within Season 2, I feel like some of that tension's died down to where the characters are showing off more development. But when it comes to rom-coms, a lot of people, I do believe, enjoy the tension between the characters and the humor. And with that tension, some of it being gone away, some of that humor somewhat dies off, and it kind of becomes somewhat of a regular romantic anime, if that makes any sense. So, I do believe some of the plot is kind of going into a 360, just doing a full circle. But yeah, aside from that, I do believe it's a great anime. Next up, we have Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun, and in my opinion, this is going to be a 7 out of 10. Reason being is because it feels like the anime should have been done before Season 3, just because Season 2 had enough episodes to actually make a movie, in my opinion, as in there was just so much annoying filler, and people do not like filler. People prefer the main content. You know, it's like when you go to a restaurant, right, and you get a steak and broccoli. The steak is the main plot, and the broccoli is the side filler. People will enjoy the filler depending on what it is. You know, you may not like broccoli, you might prefer mashed potatoes or macaroni and cheese, but majority of time people are going to love the main plot, which is the steak. So in my opinion, Demon School Iruma-kun is a 7 out of 10 just because I feel like it's been, I don't know, it feels like the hype's died down and the anime has been pushed along way too much for money. Next up we have Beast Tamer. This is a really generic anime. There's nothing special about it. The animation is good, but character development is meh. The intros and outros are alright, and I just feel like it's a generic anime. Like, there's nothing special about it. The main character's funny, kind of cute, but I guess that's it. I mean, aside from that, everything else is just bland and really, like, already done. So, I mean, it's a generic and average anime at best. Next up, we got Golden Kamuy Season 4, and this is going to get a 9 out of 10 from me. Honestly, I've been loving this anime so far, and I will say, I do feel bad that I didn't actually watch it when it was released, because it didn't catch my attention before until I gave it a shot, and honestly, I love it. It's a great anime. The plot is amazing. The adventure, what I like about adventure animes is the anime goes into this adventure where the characters all connect deeply, and the plot only thickens as the characters actually, you know, connect more and more. That's why I actually like this anime so much, and why I will give it a 9 out of 10. The intros and outros for it were amazing, and the character development, as I said before, is amazing. Next up, we have Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. To be fair, I do like Chainsaw Man. It's an amazing anime. I've actually caught up with the manga, and I do own some of the manga in my manga collection. But I feel like aside from the anime not being original and just being, you know, somewhat generic, I do believe it deserves the hype, as the animation is top tier, character development is good, and the intro and outro are amazing. The reason why I do say it's generic and not really original is because it gives me Bleach vibes, as in, you know how Soul Reapers tend to cleanse hollows. It feels like in Chainsaw Man they're doing the exact same thing, except with Soul Reapers you have humans and devil hunters, and then on the opposite side you don't have hollows, but you have devils. So in my opinion, it's just a whole reiteration of Bleach, but with a different name slapped on it, and overall the same vibe of the anime. Next up, we have Blue Lock, and this is another great anime. Should I give it an 8 or should I give it a 9? Ooh, okay, so I'm gonna give it a 9. Honestly, Blue Lock is an amazing anime for its intro and outro. The character development is obviously there, and I'm not the biggest fan of sports anime, but with this being a soccer anime, or for some of you outside of the United States, a football anime, I will say this is one of the better sports anime I've seen. It's comparable to Haikyuu, and I'm hoping it gets a lot more seasons. A lot of people are already saying that Blue Lock is better than Haikyuu, but I will not say that, because Haikyuu has more than 3 seasons while Blue Lock only has 1. So in all honesty, only time can tell if Blue Lock will actually surpass Haikyuu or if it will not. The plot to Blue Lock though is amazing, and I do respect it. I was also watching the World Cup while watching Blue Lock, so I felt like that was kind of cool, as a lot of the people were talking about how the Japanese football players had the design of the Blue Lock players' clothing sets, and I thought that was pretty cool on its own. So yeah. Next up, we got My Hero Academia, and this is going to be a 8 out of 10. Now then, the reason why I say it's an 8 out of 10 is because its intros and outros will never be better than Bleach. Yes, My Hero Academia has some bangers for its intros and outros, but they do not compare to Bleach at all. And if anyone remembers why My Hero Academia started falling off, was because after season 2, we started getting some crappy fillers that started becoming worse and worse. In my opinion, as I said before, season 3 and season 4 were the broccoli of My Hero Academia. Seasons 1, 2, 5, and 6 were the steak of My Hero Academia. So when everyone started calling My Hero Academia mid-academia, I actually do believe they were correct, as in seasons 3 and seasons 4 were not that interesting, and the filler was kinda garbage. Next up, we have I'm the Villainess, so I'm taming the final boss. This is another average generic isekai. I'm not into it that much. It's literally a crappy rom-com, and I don't even think it's a rom-com actually. It just seems like a generic and crappy rom-com because in some of the characters' details, when something happens, it happens off screen, which is really bogus, because if I want to see more of the development from the characters, I want to see it on screen. I don't want to see it off screen, only to be explained in full dialogue. I mean, what's the point of building up character development when it's thrown off screen and only to be replaced with crappy dialogue? No, I don't want to see that. I want to see development, actual development. The plot's generic, the character development is meh. The intros and outros aren't that great, and honestly, it's just a really crappy anime. If anything, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10 just because I did not like that anime at all. Next up, we got Mob Psycho Season 3, and holy shit, this is an amazing anime. Honestly, just like Golden Kamuy, I didn't watch Mob Psycho when the hype was beginning or when it started. I didn't pay attention to season 1 or season 2, but when season 3 came around and people were telling me how great it was, I had to watch seasons 1 and seasons 2. I actually finished all that within the last month, so I'm actually caught up with Mob Psycho at the moment, and I'm on season 3. So I feel like overall, Mob Psycho has been so amazing. It's been good, it's been great. Character development on the side, though, is iffy, as I feel like we understand more of Mob's character. It feels like he's really overpowered. He hasn't earned much of his powers through fighting and training alone. And when it seems like he's OP and wants to just be a normal teenager in high school, he starts, being training to become an average human, jogging, building up muscle, making friends. And I do believe his character is relatable to a lot of people that I know of. So that's another thing I like about this anime, is the main character is relatable. Aside from that, the intro and outro are great, the plot's amazing, and it is a funny anime. Next up, we got Bocchi the Rock, and this is one of the animes I will consider to be perfect. Now then, Bocchi the Rock, I was comparing to K-On!, but Bocchi the Rock actually went into a different path compared to K-On!, as where K-On! Seems like overblown hype and really good plot, Bocchi the Rock basically traded out all that for the character development. The characters are so well developed. I have a friend who can deeply relate to the main character, and for me, I relate a lot to the bassist, and I really do love the bassist, as her character is just really great. The plot is amazing. I love how they went into a different direction compared to K-On!, as where the character development wasn't as great. I feel like Bocchi the Rock has so much better character development. The intro and outro I do love. They're amazing. And overall, the animation is great. I love it when the main character starts freaking out and she starts glitching out of nowhere. It's just really funny because she's having a hard time dealing with her emotions. A lot of people will say the main character is introverted, and I will say the main character and the bassist are introverted, but the character is afraid to express her feelings and talk to people normally, as where the bassist is just like, ew, I do not like humans, but I'm very irresponsible with my money, and I depend on humans to feed me and give me money to do things and buy things. And I'm just like, dude, that's so funny. I actually like it. Next up, we have Spy Family, and I will say Spy Family has fallen off a bit, as The plot seems to go and revolve around the same thing over and over again, as where originally season 1 was great, but season 2 feels like it's slowly building up to what we're waiting for, but a lot of people are not liking the slow build up, and a lot of people are wanting to expect the next part of the anime to be somewhat more hyped. Though in my opinion, the slow build up is kind of appreciated, as I can catch up to other animes, so I don't really have to, bother watching the slower build up for Spy Family. And I do feel like people are kind of tired of that slow build up, as it seems like it's kind of going nowhere. But again, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. I will say though, season 1 did have a better intro and outro. Character development is still the same, so it's amazing, and the story is pretty much the same. So again, it's still a great anime. Next up, we have Urusei Yatsura, and I'm feeling a lot of I'm feeling a lot of people do not like this anime, as it seems to be outdated, even though they rehashed it. So the animation is extremely good. It is so much better compared to the original, but a lot of people don't understand the jokes or the tropes of this anime, as this anime is somewhat old. A lot of people feel confused or lost within the jokes and the humor of this anime, and the character development is kind of meh. The intro and outro are nice, but they're not anything to write home about. So the anime is pretty much above average, I would say. Next up, we have Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury. This is a 8 out of 10. A lot of people are kind of irritated that it's the same formula that Gundam's been doing for the past few years. Some people are even calling it a blatant ripoff of Iron-Blooded Orphans, which I could see why some people would think that, but the main character is different. The main character is pretty shy, pretty introverted, and I would actually compare it to the main character of Bocchi the Rock. Honestly, her and the main character have a lot of similarities, which I think is pretty funny. I've always been a huge fan of Gundam, as well, as when I was 8 years old and got into anime, I was introduced into Gundam, as well as Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon. So yeah, I do believe the anime is good though, as the plot is great, the character development is great, the intro and outro are actually really good. I do love the intro more than the outro, as the intro gives me like pop music vibes mixed with EDM and like rock, which is pretty cool. The animation is also amazing, so this anime is really great. I've even heard from my friend that he even likes Witch from Mercury, so again, really good anime. Don't see why people are hating on it. And next up, we have Shinobi no Itoki, and this is possibly the worst anime I've seen of all time. Or, not of all time, my bad, this season. I'm giving it a 3 out of 10 because the plot is misleading, character development is, again, nowhere. The animation is great, and the intro and outro are decent, but aside from that, it's just so boring and so generic and so misleading. Like, of course, it's an anime about ninjas, so I gave it a chance. I was like, oh, is this going to be like Naruto? Is this going to be like anything else I've seen within the past? And sadly, no. For some reason, this anime is all about ninjas, or, named after, ninjas like Shinobi. But when you get into the anime, everyone is using mechs, and I'm like, what is this? This is supposed to be an anime based on Shinobis, actual ninjas. What's with the mechs? Like, did we go into Boruto and like, instead of using Game Boys as well, we're also using mechs? Like, no, this is like what, I don't know. I'm just kind of annoyed because when I was watching this anime, I was expecting so much, but I got so little from this anime. Like, why are there mechs and an anime based on ninjas? Why is the character development so bad? Like, it's basically non-existent. I mean, there's a clan of characters that are interesting. Some characters are interesting, I will say, but character development is void. Like, there's nothing really there to be developed on. Like, some of the characters aren't even that interesting to begin with. And I cannot say this enough. Why are you naming your anime Shinobi no Itoki when there's mechs and barely anything to do with ninjas? It should have been called Mechs no Itoki. Like, why is it not called Mechs no Itoki? You literally just slapped the label onto the anime calling it Shinobi no Itoki when it should have been called Mechs no Itoki. Like, this is literally a crappy anime. It's misleading. Character development is void. There's none within this anime. The animation is amazing, but aside from that, everything else is like garbage. Of course, the intro and outro are nice, but who cares? I'm not trying to listen to a soundtrack. I'm trying to listen to I'm not trying to listen to a soundtrack. I'm trying to watch the anime. This is literally like going to a restaurant. Not only did you not give me any sides, but you burnt my steak. You burnt my steak and gave me no sides, and I literally paid $16 for this crappy meal. That is right. I do believe Shinobi no Itoki is the worst anime for the season, and I will literally argue with that on top of a hill, and I will die on that hill because this anime sucks. Alright, so reviewing best anime on this list, in my opinion, is Bocchi the Rock, just because comparing it to K-On!, I feel like I was misleading myself into believing it would be like K-On!, but what strikes me as being different is that Bocchi has superior character development, and overall, even though the plots seem to be the same, K-On!'s entire, plot is based around a bunch of high schoolers who want to make a band and want to succeed in a band. While Bocchi the Rock is about some high schoolers who want to be in a band, but are also trying to figure themselves out because 2 of the people in this band are extroverted. 2 of the people in this band are introverted. They're trying to figure out how they can work together while building on that teamwork and making this band a success. That is why I love Bocchi the Rock so much. I believe introverts and extroverts can co-align and coincide and coexist in one group and succeed within that group alone. And this is why I find Bocchi the Rock to be the best anime on this tier list. I mean, I love Bleach, but let's be real here. Bleach had garbage filler. The character development was, over here, over there, it was flip-floppy. And a lot of people started downplaying it, calling it worse than One Piece and Naruto. But catching up with Naruto, we got Boruto, and at that point, I was like, no, One Piece is better than Bleach. Bleach is better than Naruto, and Naruto at this point is just falling off repeatedly off a downhill cliff. Boruto is trash, and I will die on that hill. I even tried rewatching Boruto. Hell, my younger brother is a bigger Naruto fan than I am, and he even thinks Boruto sucks. Golden Kamuy, I will say, is an amazing anime, but I feel like there could have been some parts of the character development that could have been better, but that's just me. Chainsaw Man, it's not original, there's no originality, so people calling this an original anime have no idea what they're talking about, because, again, Chainsaw Man gives me Bleach vibes. It is literally the same thing as Bleach, but with different characters and different ideas for those characters. Blue Lock, I will say it is an amazing anime. It's not perfect, though. It's a sports anime, and I feel like a lot of people calling it perfect and better than Haikyuu are kind of jumping the gun, if you catch my drift. Like, they're kind of hyping this up a bit too much, and it's kind of unrealistic, to say the least. Mob Psycho, Season 3. It's amazing, but I feel like with the character being overpowered, and the character himself trying to find who he is truly on a human level basis, the character development kind of goes on and on like that within the first 3 seasons, and it does get tedious, and it does have a slow build-up. Uzaki-chan has slowed down. It's actually dropped the ball a bit because all the tension between the 2 main characters is pretty much gone, and it's not as funny as it used to be. Even though Twitter morons were talking about it being terrible and having terrible character development, I do believe that is bogus and people are just mad for no reason at all. My Hero Academia, Seasons 3 and Seasons 4 were terrible. Y'all, I will say this. Seasons 1, Seasons 2, Seasons 5, and 6 were steak. Were comparable to some good-ass steak, while Seasons 3 and Seasons 4 were comparable to terrible sides, as in terrible burnt broccoli or overcooked macaroni. Spy Family. The slow buildup has actually started annoying people. It's gotten to the point where it just feels like you're watching the same thing over and over again with only different angles and different concepts. A lot of people who are hating on Witch for Mercury think it's comparable to Iron-Blooded Orphans, only just a lot less better and a bit more terrible, which I honestly don't see it. I think it's a really great anime. As for everything below, I feel like it just doesn't strike me as being good or not being perfect, to say the least. You know, like these animes are good. This is average. This is average. This is almost terrible. But this Shinobi no Itoki is the worst anime of fall. And I kid you not, like I said before, it's misleading. Character development is void. There's no development to be seen aside from one clan and maybe a few cool characters. But what pisses me off the most is the only things that are good pertaining to this anime are the animation and the intro and outro. I'm not trying to watch art slides. I'm not trying to listen to a soundtrack. I'm watching an anime. And when the anime lacks character development and has like a misleading plot, it's kind of like telling me you don't care about where this anime goes, and at that point it's complete garbage. This anime, if it were to be food, it would be burnt steak with no sides. This anime sucks, and instead of being Shinobi no Itoki, it should have been called Mecha no Itoki. That is why this anime is the worst of this season. Alright, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the tier list. Comment down below, like, and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Honestly, this is just my opinion and my opinion alone, so take this with a grain of salt. Do not feel offended, as I do believe I am truly correct on my opinion and my opinion alone. So again, don't feel offended, don't be salty. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, whatever, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.